Sir, we'll start with you.
This is a question I've wanted to ask you for a while, but I haven't done it because it's a bit off track. Maybe it'll tell us something about you just as a person. If for some reason you had to be isolated for a year, and all you could have are 3 books, what 3 books would you choose?
Ooh. You made me think on that one. The first is probably The Constitution of Liberty by Friedrich von Hayek. It's important to me. It guides a lot of my worldview, civic worldview. He sort of taught the importance of liberty, where freedom actually comes from. Our rights come from God. Is that right? I thought they didn't like my book choice. Is that right? I know. The current federal administration. That's one threat. That's probably a threat to the deep state. It's Friedrich von Hayek, right? So I'll tell you that. That's probably number 1 on the list. I'll start with that. And then number 2 on the list, we probably would say, actually, it's a biography of George Washington, actually. Start with the basics. You know, the first one would be getting me through my own difficulty of being isolated. The second one would be, it's actually, if you have some time to spare, we all should probably spare our time by learning a little bit about the founding of this country. I think a lot about this journey. I'm assuming that if that was what was happening right now, if I'm running for president, yeah, I want to start with the first president. I know about his history, but there's always something you pick up every time you read into the biography of George Washington or Thomas Jefferson that you didn't pick up the first time around. And so maybe I'll leave you with those 2 right out of the gate. And I think that, you know, we live in a 1776 moment, actually. It's a moment where we start with the basic rules of the road. Right? It's not about, you know, we can talk about the tax rates. We can talk about, I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do to fix the border crisis. But right now, this is all downstream of who we really are as a people. And I think half the job of the next U.S. president, I think it's a good question to ask for this reason. Half the job of the president is policy. But the other half of the job is reviving our national character, actually. That's what Reagan said when he left office in January of 1989. Of all the things he could have picked, the thing he was most proud of was when he said, we revived our national character that we lacked when I took office in 81. I think when Forbes and I leave that White House in January of 2033 after 2 terms, think a lot about what we want to tell you. Tell you we shut down the deep state, that we grew the economy, we declared independence from China, we stayed out of World War III, secured our borders, all of that's important. But the thing I most want to tell you is that we revived our sense of national pride and identity in our 2 sons and their generation. I think that's the most important contribution I hope to make to this country as your next president. So that makes that a very fair question to ask. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Sir, did you have a question? Or was it you? Yes, everybody's going to have. We'll start here and then we'll go.